The story begins in 2054 on a remote planet where we find a man named Me. As soon as his eyes open, he's lying in an icy ditch. He spots a ship and calls out to his friend, Timo. Timo is surprised to see him alive, but when he emerges from the ship, he only picks up Me's flamethrower, leaving Me behind. He claims there's no point in saving Me because he'll die soon anyway. In reality, Me isn't an ordinary human, but a clone. He had been grown as a clone 16 times before, and this was his 17th clone. Whenever he died, the company would create a new body from the computer. All his memories were saved in the computer every week and then uploaded into the new body so he would remember his entire life. This had become so common for the science department that they no longer paid much attention to it. When the scientists were printing MCI-17, a wire suddenly fell from the machine, causing a slight glitch in the process. Cloning was actually forbidden on Earth and was only done in space with people called expendables. Me was one such expendable, meaning he was sent on dangerous missions in space, because if he died, they could just make another Me. His job, in fact, was to die. One day, they sent Me out of the spaceship for repair work, but Me soon realized they were lying. There was no malfunction in the spaceship. Instead, they wanted to test what would happen to normal humans if they were exposed to dangerous radiation. Suddenly, a tool fell on him from the spaceship, severing his hand, which the scientists found amusing. After that, they printed the next Me, who only had 15 minutes to live, so the scientists quickly started taking samples. The whole ordeal actually began on Earth 4 years earlier. Me was Timo's closest friend. Timo helped him open his bakery by getting him a loan from some dangerous thugs. However, their business failed, and soon the thugs were hot on their heels, demanding their money back. Timo and Me tried to escape, but the thugs attacked them with special grenades, giving them severe electric shocks and knocking them unconscious. When they woke up, they met Terius, the mafia boss, who enjoyed cutting his prisoners' bodies with a saw. Timo and Me realized that if they didn't arrange the money, they would suffer the same fate. This was when they decided to leave Earth. Me filled out a form to be part of a new world being settled on another planet. However, millions of people like them had filled out this form. The leader of this mission was a politician named Kenneth, who had lost the previous 2 elections. But his staunch supporters were willing to do anything for him, and because of this, he found investors for his mission. Timo easily became part of this mission because he had a pilot's learner's permit, but Me had no such special skills. That's why he filled out the form as an expendable without much research. After this, a company officer gave Me a tour of the facility and explained the work of expendables. Their printer collected all the organic waste present in the spaceship, such as leftover food, human waste, and corpses, and then used these to print new bodies for clones. However, Me was so captivated by the girl's scent that he didn't hear anything. Anyway, the girl laid Me down for an initial scan and sent him into the machine. Then she backed up all his memories into a brick-like device. After that, he was given a special injection that made him recall all past events. That's when memories of Me's mother's death flashed before his eyes. On that day, while driving in the car, Me accidentally pressed a red button, and their car had a terrible accident. When he replayed the scene, he burst into tears. Afterward, the girl picked up a gun and started shooting him because he now had to get used to dying repeatedly. Me was very scared, but the girl still pulled the trigger. Nothing happened. After this, the spaceship set off for space, and Me began to learn new ways of life with the rest of the crew. The food there was terrible, and everyone received the same amount. If anyone tried to take more, an alarm would sound, meaning they had to put the food back. During the crew's first lunch break, Kenneth appeared with his wife, Yelfa. It was clear that Kenneth wasn't very bright, and Yelfa, working with the church, was using him for her own gain. Most of the people there seemed happy to see Kenneth, but some remained silent. At that moment, Me noticed Nasha, a security agent, and fell in love with her at first sight. Nasha invited him to her table, and Mi went to her. Nasha shared her food with him, and soon they became friends. At the same time, Kenneth was giving a speech, saying they were going to settle a new world on a new planet. But before that, they would only have essential rations, meaning they couldn't sustain more humans. Therefore, Kenneth banned intimate relationships. However, no one was happy about this, so he said they could have as many children as they wanted once they reached the new planet. But Nasha and Mi didn't care about this rule and secretly spent nights together. The crew often asked Mi what it felt like to die, which greatly bothered him. One day, Nasha angrily threatened to shoot them so they could experience death for themselves. This caused a fight in the cafeteria, and then security kept everyone in jail all night. As punishment, Mi was given half his usual food. Meanwhile, when girls named Kai and Jennifer tried to get close to Mi, Nasha would quickly appear and show everyone that Mi was hers and hers alone. Finally, after some time, the spaceship reached its destination planet. The scientists sent Mi out without a helmet so he could collect all the viruses in the area. Mi fell ill and died as soon as he went outside. But to find a vaccine for this virus, they had to repeat this mission repeatedly. One day, the scientists saw that Mi was still alive in the body bag, but they still threw Mi into the cycler and killed him. Finally, thanks to Mi-12 to Mi-16, the scientists found the vaccine, and now humans could walk on this planet without masks. After this, Mi was sent out with his research team, and they all entered an icy cave. Kai noticed a hole in the wall where there were some insect-like creatures. One creature suddenly jumped on Kai, so Kai ran, and the creature chased her. At the same time, one of her companions fired shots, scaring away all the alien creatures. After this, they all started to leave when Jennifer suddenly froze there because she realized there must be an animal on the roof. She attacked the roof, causing ice to fall on her, and she was crushed and killed there. Later, when they reached the spaceship, Kenneth scolded Mi severely because Mi should have died instead of Jennifer. His job was to die. Then, after watching videos of those creatures, he named them creepers. Mi now received even less food, and his work was doubled. They sent Mi out to collect samples of the creepers, and Timo would deliver food to him in his helicopter. One day, Mi was walking on thin ice, and it suddenly broke, and Mi fell into an icy ditch. This is where the story began. After Timo left, Mi fell into the hands of a large creeper, who began to drag him away. Soon small creepers surrounded him and tried to hide his fingers. However, the creeper mother made strange noises, so Mi imitated her, and the creepers threw him out of the ditch. He looked at the creepers and realized that this clone was so terrible that even creepers didn't want to eat him. Just then, Mi saw a company truck passing by, so he cried for help, but no one heard him. Then he ran and climbed onto the roof of the truck. Finally, when he returned to the spaceship, he went straight to his room and lay on the bed. But then he saw that Mi-18 had already been printed and was standing before him. Seeing this, Mi-17 screamed, because it was illegal to have two clones at the same time. Then 18 threw a stone at him and knocked him unconscious. After some time, when 17 woke up, he saw that 18 was dragging him into a box. 17 remembered that Nasha had said that every Mi was a little different, and he figured that Mi-18 was a bit more aggressive. When they reached the cycler room, 17 tried to attack 18 from behind, but 18 saw him and beat him badly. Then he tried to push 17 into a pit of fire, so 17 made him an offer. He said they could divide the work and then die one by one, because their death was inevitable. 18 realized that 17 was afraid of dying, but he didn't understand why, as he had died many times before. Then 17 said they were very different, but 18 tried to push him again. At that moment, they heard someone approaching, so both mace ran to hide. It was actually Timo, who was secretly selling a drug called oxyfosol to the other crew members, which had an alcoholic effect on the body. As soon as Timo was alone, 18 came out and started beating Timo because of his business idea that had gotten them stuck there. He tried to push Timo into the pit, but then 17 attacked him. Then 17 tried to save Timo's life, but 18 pulled him back. After that, they had a brief scuffle and 18 picked up a hot iron rod. But at that moment, Nasha and G, the head of the security team, arrived in the room. Then 18 told Timo to keep his mouth shut, otherwise he would expose his drug dealing. Then they would both die together. Okay, then 18 and Timo pretended that Timo had accidentally fallen into the pit and 18 had saved his life. Meanwhile, 17 was secretly watching all this, and when he saw Nasha hugging 18, he became very jealous. 17 tried to follow her, but a church man stopped him because he wanted to take a picture with him. Then he informed me that he was being given an opportunity to have dinner with Kenneth and Yelfa. At night, when he went to dinner, he devoured the delicious food. Kenneth even apologized to him for scolding him about Jennifer's death. Then Kai also arrived, and they were talking when Mi suddenly vomited. The science team burst into the room. They saw red marks on Mi's neck and realized it was due to eating growth hormones present in the meat. Actually, the science team was working on developing a special medicine, and they gave Mi an injection. But he writhed in pain, bumping into things and groaning terribly. Kenneth said they should give Mi an easy death, and Yelfa removed her carpet so it wouldn't get blood stains. Kai believed they shouldn't treat Mi like that, but Kenneth said he wasn't a human, just a clone. Then Mi pleaded that there was no need to kill him. He felt fine now, after which Kai took him with her. In Kai's room, Mi saw in pictures that Kai loved Jennifer dearly. Then Kai asked Mi about dying, because she wanted to know what Jennifer felt before her death. Mi said it was a very frightening experience. Then Kai tried to get close to him, but Mi panicked and ran away. After that, when he reached his room, Nasha recognized him as number 17. Actually, 18 had already told her everything. Then she wrote numbers on both their bodies with her lipstick. At the same time, Kai entered their room and saw both clones, but left without saying anything. Then Nasha ran after her to stop her. Meanwhile, the clones were watching TV, on which Kenneth was talking with his scientists on a talk show. Then 17 told 18 about all the events that happened at dinner, how Kenneth wanted to kill him even for a simple allergic infection. Hearing this, 18 became very angry. He took Nasha's gun and left to kill Kenneth. Meanwhile, Kai went to report more than one clone, but Nasha reached her. Then Kai said that if Nasha wanted Kai not to tell anyone about this, she would have to give Kai a Mi. But hearing this, Nasha became very angry because Mi was not a toy to be given to just anyone. At the same time, 18 ran from there, and 17 also followed him. 17 told Kai and Nasha that 18 had a gun. In the cafeteria, a laser machine was cutting a large rock because a black diamond was hidden inside it. At the same time, 18 hid in the crowd, ready to fire his gun, but then a man pushed him. At the same moment, a small creeper came out of a rock, and everyone was terrified. Chaos ensued, and Kenneth stood on the table, ordering them to catch this creeper. The scientists immediately put on hazmat suits and tried to catch the creeper, but it was no use. Then Kenneth ordered 17 to also catch the creeper. As soon as the creeper stopped in one place, 17 made the same strange noise he had heard the creeper mother make that day. Dorothy watched him doing this very carefully. During this, 18 arrived there to kill Kenneth. He even fired shots, but Nasha and 17 overpowered him. His bullet hit the black diamond directly, and then suddenly another creeper stuck to Kenneth's face. Kai and the other guards shot and killed the creeper, and the scientists caught the first creeper. The cries of this baby could be heard by its mother in the cave outside. On the other hand, we see that along with Nasha, 17 and 18 had also been imprisoned. Then 17 told them that on that day in the cave, the creepers refused to even eat him, saying, "I am so worthless." But Nasha said he was thinking nonsense, that the creepers had actually saved his life. Suddenly, a bag fell on the sleeping guard's head. It was actually Timo, who had snuck into the jail to free his friends. Timo gave 17 a letter he had found at his door. It stated that Darius's thugs had followed them to space to collect their debt. Darius wrote that if Timo dismembered me with a saw and sent the video to Darius, he would forgive their debt. Now, the guard set up a camera, and Timo, crying, told 17 that he was going to die anyway. Kai told Timo to stop his act, so Timo told the guard to kill 17 first. But then 18 told Timo that he would sacrifice himself instead of 17 because he was not afraid of death and had much more pain tolerance than 17. But before dying, he wanted some oxyfozole. As soon as the guard came to give him the drug, 18 grabbed his arm and slammed his head against the bars. At the same time, Nasha stole his taser gun and gave Timo electric shocks. She also stole the keys from the guard and got out of jail, and now she was ready to dismember Timo with his own saw. But at that moment, G arrived and arrested everyone. As he was being led down the corridor, 17 realized that Nasha had always protected him. Once, she even stayed with him during a painful experiment while wearing a hazmat suit. Anyway, as they passed by all the windows, they saw that all the creepers had surrounded the spaceship. Meanwhile, the scientists were carrying the baby creeper, and Dorothy saw 17 and tried to make the same strange noise that 17 had made in the cafeteria. Dorothy believed that this was the language of the creepers, and she wanted to create a translator to communicate with them. After this, they all reached the cycler room. Here, Yelfa cut off the creeper baby's tail to make a new sauce. Then Kenneth branded 18's cheek with a hot iron rod so he could identify both clones. Then he told a scientist to erase all of Mi's memory data. Kenneth was angry at the creepers, so Nasha said that this planet actually belonged to the creepers, and humans had come here as aliens. Nasha explained that the creepers had pulled Me out of an icy ditch alive, that they weren't bad. But Kenneth laughed and said that the creepers must have left him alive because he was worse than trash. Anyway, then Dorothy said that her team was building a translator to learn the language of the creepers. At the same time, the creeper baby spat on Kenneth, at which Kenneth struck at it with a hot rod, but missed. Kenneth was now very angry, so he kept babbling nonsense, after which Nasha also yelled at him. Then Kenneth, in a fit of rage, tied the creeper baby with a rope and threw it into the pit of fire, and threw the rope towards Nasha. Nasha somehow caught it with her teeth to save the baby's life. G told his men to record all this. Now Kenneth wanted all the creepers to be killed, but Yelfa had a better idea. They put bombs on the backs of Me, 17 and 18, the buttons of which were in Kenneth's hands. Yelfa wanted them to cut off as many creeper tails as possible, and whoever brought the first 100 tails would win, while the loser would face their death. When they were on their way, 17 said that this was the punishment for his mother's car accident. But 18 said that there was a defect in that car, so they shouldn't blame themselves for their mother's death just for pressing a button. At the same time, Dorothy arrived there and gave them her developed translation device. Now they both made their way through the swarm of creepers to the mother of the babies. She recognized Me and said that she had saved Me's life, but in return, humans had captured her own child. If anything happened to her child, she would kill all humans. Then she started screaming loudly, and the other babies did the same. 17 and 18 covered their ears, at which the creeper mother said that with her power, she could even blow up their brains. Meanwhile, on the spaceship, when Kenneth and Yelfa saw the clones communicating with the creepers, they became quite panicked. At the same time, Me 17 ran towards the cameras and made a C3 sign with his fingers. This was actually a signal to Nasha, meaning that the child had to be taken to its mother at all costs. Yelfa and the church believed that Kenneth, rather than the clones, should talk to these creepers. Meanwhile, 17 promised the creeper mother that Nasha would definitely bring her child, but the mother said that this alone would not be enough because humans had taken the life of one of her children, so in return, she would also have to take a human life. At the same time, Kenneth's 3 cars came out. Inside, Nasha jumped and grabbed Yelfa. Then Zeke grabbed the child's rope, so Nasha said that if they allowed the child to go to its mother, she would release Yelfa. As Zeke was about to give Nasha the rope, Yelfa cut his wrist, but Nasha caught the rope at the last moment. Yelfa wanted to arrest Nasha, but Zeke said that Yelfa and Kenneth had misused their power and therefore had to appear before the committee. Outside, seeing the cars approaching, the children ran and clung to their mother. Now the guard didn't know whom to shoot. At the same time, 18 appeared before them, and one guard was even about to attack him, but the churchman redirected his rocket towards the sky because he knew that if 18's bomb exploded, they would also die. At the same time, 18 jumped on Kenneth. As Nasha brought the child, 18 announced that he was even willing to sacrifice a human for the creeper mother. He hesitated for a moment, but then pressed the button, after which he detonated the bomb in his bag, killing Kenneth. Finally, all the creepers silently left the area. After all this was over, the entire crew was put in jail. After losing Kenneth, Yelfa also went mad and lost her life. After this, the rest of the crew was put on trial, but finally, Nasha got out of jail and decided to run for election as the leader of the committee head to bring about positive changes. On the other hand, Dorothy had completed her translation research, and now Me often talked to the creepers. It was then that he learned that the creepers' strange noises were just sounds, and the creeper mother had lied about being able to blow up their brains to get her child back. Anyway, soon Nasha won the election and became the new leader, after which she announced that the Expendables program was being shut down forever, and now Me would be considered a real human, not just a clone.